My first book is called A Thousand Ways to Die, The True Cost of Violence on Black Life in America. And I'm speaking to how guns have shaped our experience in this country, going back to the guns for slave cycle, which is perhaps one of the most under investigated aspects of the slave trade, is that as gun technology was rising, the British powers and European powers were applying regional African powers with guns for enslaved people. And so we have this myth in our minds that enslaved people were a natural byproduct of regional wars. No, the Europeans were fomenting and creating war to create slaves. Slaves were being made by the war, right? And so we were pushed out of Mother Africa with the muzzle of a gun at our backs. And then we arrive at the hell of the Western world with a musket in our face. And so the violence of slavery, of the slave patrols, the violence that it took to emancipate us, the Reconstruction, the violence of the redemption period when white folks tried to push us as far back into slavery as they possibly could, through the migration and arriving in the North with a different kind of violence than white folks with a different accent. And the violence of, you're like us, but we don't want you in school with us, even in the North. And every step of the way to Reaganomics, to the ecosystems that created what we know as modern urban gun violence today. And so telling this story of my own family's experience with gun violence from the 1920s into the 2000s as a vehicle to speak to what we've experienced in this country. But I think what's really important about this book also, as much as it's about gun violence, it's also about the violence that comes long before a trigger is ever pulled. And that's what has ripened our community for such bloodshed.